Today on NTV, we'll recap McKinney's annual Relay for Life.
We'll take a look at Miss Shelton's teenage years on this week's When I Was 17.
And we'll explore the recruiting process of one standout athlete.
All this and more right here on NTV.
I'm Julian Esparza.
And I'm Jordan Early.
This past Friday, the annual Relay for Life was held at Craig Ranch Ball Fields in McKinney. People from all over the city gathered to pay tribute to those currently living with cancer and those who lost the battle. If you weren't able to go, here's a look at what you missed.
Excitement.
Empowering.
Very hopeful.
Uplifting. These words easily describe McKinney's annual Relay for Life charity event. Relay for Life is a community-based fundraising event which benefits the American Cancer Society. Last Friday, thousands rallied to celebrate one thing: life.
It's people getting in communion with one another and celebrating just that, life.
Everybody is just so excited to be here, and just the vibe from everybody, and we hoot and we holler and we dance, and we just all come together, we get to know each other, and we have a great time.
Pulling off such a huge event requires a lot of volunteers. Hundreds donated their time to ensure that the night went off without a hitch. Jackie says the volunteers actually benefit from helping out.
It helps the individual who's working to volunteer to raise funds, because you think of someone outside of yourself, and I think that is a very important factor in life.
Most attendees for Relay for Life have been impacted by cancer in some way. Paula says that some of her friends and family lost their battle with cancer.
My aunt, she had sinus cancer, and she didn't survive long. She ended up losing her fight. I've had several friends, some other relatives that didn't make it. Our founder of Racy Ladies and Dashing Dudes, she battled for a long time and she lost her battle. So she's always with us every year.
For Jackie, battling cancer has been a personal journey that started when she was diagnosed with in situ, an early stage of cancer.
Mine was caught very early, so mine is not, I think, much more of not nearly what I think a lot of the people that have gone through here, and I did not have to go through chemotherapy or radiation. A lot of the people that you see here do have to go through chemotherapy and radiation, and have a much more difficult battle than I do. So I am very grateful for that fact.
If you would like to donate to the American Cancer Society, go to www.cancer.org. This has been Julian Esparza for NTV.
In our When I Was 17 series, we've covered many teachers and administrators known well throughout the school. However, you might not be as familiar with this teacher. With a look back on Miss Shelton's teenage years, here's Taylor Billiot.
This week we caught up with broadcast advisor Mrs. Tasha Shelton, who is celebrating her 15th year since graduating from high school.
I graduated from Madison High School in 1999. It's in San Antonio.
Along with many other 90s teenagers, Mrs. Shelton worked in the fast food industry. She worked at Whataburger for a few months during her junior year.
It was disgusting because I would go home smelling like mustard for some reason and feeling like I was just completely filthy, and I definitely always felt like I smelled like mustard.
On top of having a typical job, she had a typical car, but a not so typical feature.
I had a 1995 Ford Contour, and it had inside of it, my senior year, I got a CD player installed because those weren't already in there at the time, and I got a CD player and it had a detachable face. For the people who were worried about their CD players getting stolen, I could take the face off so nobody would steal my awesome CD player.
Like many of us, Miss Shelton had high hopes, plans, and dreams for after high school.
I thought I was definitely going to go into the medical field. Like there was no question for me that I was going to do something in medicine because I really like science and I liked math somewhat. So I thought I was going to go to the medical field. I was also an athletic trainer, so I definitely thought that that was the route I was going to take.
But Tasha did not just have the goal of being a doctor, she also had the smarts to match.
I was a really good student. I really liked learning, so I studied a lot. I was in the top 10% of my class when I graduated, so I really, really like learning. I still do, in fact.
And with as much studying as Miss Shelton did, she always had time for her many extracurriculars.
I was kind of everywhere. I was in band my first 2 years in high school, and then I was in swimming as well, and then I was in softball. And then I quit everything my junior year, and I just did athletic training.
Even though her parents were divorced and she had a busy home life with many siblings, her dad always made time to support their education.
He used to call, like my sister and I were in the same grade, and he used to have us stand there and he would do like a mock spelling bee for any words that we were learning. So we would have to spell words for him and like compete. and then also anytime we didn't know the answer to or a definition to a word, he would make us look it up. So it wasn't even a question. We'd be like, what does this mean? Look it up. And I don't know why we even asked him, but he always made us look up words. So he was very involved. But I have good spelling and I have a decent vocabulary.
Her parents weren't the only ones who were supportive. She also had a great relationship with her siblings.
I have 3 sisters and 2 brothers, and we were always really close. Even I have a younger brother who's only a year younger than me, and then a stepsister, who's 6 months older, and then a brother who's 11 months older. So we were all in high school at the same time. The 4 of us were in high school at the same time, so we thought we were like ruling the school. But my older sister was even pretty involved. Like for some reason, I had to memorize some things on the periodic table, and so I still remember, because it was her and we were having fun. I still remember certain elements on the periodic table, like. We came up with stupid stuff, like for gold, it was like, AU, give me back my gold, so it's AU is gold. Just really dumb stuff, but I still remember it. Useless information, of course, but I still remember it.
Mrs. Shelton's high school experience was good, but she thinks high schoolers now have more resources for opportunities after high school.
I think you'll have access to resources for college and stuff like that. Like I didn't know when I was in high school, I didn't know what a credit was for college. I thought, I'm in 8 classes in high school, I take 8 classes in college, and no, you do not do that at all. So I didn't know certain answers to questions like that. So I think that's really good.
But she thinks there are some not so good changes as well.
I think kids are a lot meaner to each other, and I'm not really sure why. Like I know in high school we weren't really mean, but I think social media has changed it in that way. I mean, I know it's cliche to say that, but I think it's easier for kids to be mean to each other because they're not saying it directly to people's faces. They're saying it over social media. So and they're just really mean.
So along with all the school changes, Miss Shelton has also changed.
I think I'm essentially the same person, but I know I'm a lot more outgoing than I was. Like it used to take me a little while to come out of my shell a little bit. Now that's not the case. And also, I don't care what people think about me. Like if they hate me, they hate me, but it doesn't really bother me. But I definitely was really worried about them in high school, and I see kids like that now, and I'm like, oh, I just wish you wouldn't care what people think, because it doesn't matter.
But even with her many improvements, there are things Miss Shelton wished she had have done differently.
Physically, I would have changed my eyebrows. I don't know why nobody said, hey, you have giant caterpillar eyebrows. That's all it would have taken, and I would have been like, oh, let me get that fixed. But I didn't care at the time. Somehow, I only cared about what people thought of my personality, not the way I looked. So I definitely would have taken some time to get those figured out. Those were bad.
Next time on our When I Was 17 finale, we will have a very special guest. This has been Jayla Johnson and Taylor Billiot for NTV.
Without a doubt, Ronald Jones is the most highly recruited athlete in McKinney North's history. With multiple visits with recruiters and many scholarship offers, Ronald recently committed to a university. Cameron Govan finds out how he dealt with this process and how he made this big decision.
Ronald Jones, what college will you be attending?
I will be attending the University of Oklahoma State.
Many young athletes aspire to playing their sport on the college level, but few of them actually get that opportunity. Ronald Jones is one of those lucky few whose dream will become a reality.
Well, Oklahoma State, you know, I like the campus and everything. My sister goes there. Barry Sanders was one of my favorite running backs, so that's why I chose OSU.
The average college recruit gets a handful of offers, but Ronald isn't your average recruit.
Oklahoma State, obviously, Alabama, Auburn, Baylor, Clemson, Michigan, LSU, Notre Dame, Florida, Missouri, Texas, USC, Arkansas.
Ronald says that many factors came into playing with deciding which offer to take. Things like location, the style of offense, and the school's conference were important to him. But there's one factor that had the biggest influence on his decision: his family.
My family, they were really important. You know, like I said, my sister goes to Oklahoma State, and I wanted to stay close to home. I wanted my mom to be able to see my games in person, so that's why, you know, my mom, she could drive us like 3 hours away.
While many people might assume that the recruiting process would be full of fun, Ronald says that it definitely had its drawbacks.
I liked the connections I was able to establish. You know, I got to meet Hall of Famers like Emmitt Smith, you know, Tim Brown, just things like that. You know, coaches like Nick Saban, I got to talk to him, Charlie Shawn. Those are great men. But things I didn't like, probably the coaching contacts. They try to pressure you a lot, try to tell you what you should do with your life, and I didn't like that part.
Ronald says that there were a lot of people trying to persuade him to go in one direction or another. Eventually, one person really guided him toward making his decision.
Coach Gundy, he played with Barry Sanders, and Barry Sanders was my favorite running back. So, you know, he told me what it was like playing with him. You know, it inspired me to go there.
Ronald's commitment to OSU isn't official until the pen hits the paper. He will be signing his letter of intent next February. In the meantime, Ronald says his life will be a lot easier now that his decision has been made. Now, all he has to worry about is leading the North football team for his last season at North.
I feel a lot better. You know, I can just relax, you know, go through school like a regular kid. Don't have to worry about coaches calling me, texting me, DMing me on Twitter. So, you know, I just talk to my OSU coaches, and, you know, I'm chilling now.
This has been Cameron Govan for NTV.
Our When I Was 17 segment allows us to look back at the lives of teachers during their high school years. But what if we found out what some future high schoolers think about high school? I sat down with some of the kids from McKinney North's preschool program to see what they think high school will be like. And what do you guys like to do? What do you do for fun?
I like playing with the frogs in there. And I like the
What do you think high school is going to be like now that you don't have nap time? When you get to bigger school, you don't have.
We just get to play. We play all day.
You just play all day in high school? I wish we played all day in high school.
Play puzzles.
Play puzzles in high school? Yeah. I wish high school was like that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Now, where is your favorite place to go?
Alexis in there. I know. Toy store.
You're starting early.
Mom, toy store.
What do you like to buy at the toy store?
Yes. I like to buy some. Oh, I like to buy a big Iron Man and little one. I saw him at the mall when I was going to take a picture with Santa. Hey, I already took a picture with Santa, guys. Yeah, it was Arrow. I still knew it. It's a real Santa. Yeah, a real Santa. The mall. Yeah,
The real Santa? Okay. So the school that you're in right now is called McKinney North High School. Do you know what the mascot of McKinney North High School is?
I have no idea.
What'd you say?
A bulldog.
A bulldog. That's correct.
My girlfriends are the big bulldogs.
Your girlfriends are bulldogs? Is that what you said?
Yeah. They play volleyball.
Do girls have cooties?
No.
What do you think about girls?
I don't like girls.
You don't like them? You think?
Why not? I like you. I like my mom.
Do you know what you want to do when you grow up? Like what kind of job you want to
I
have?
don't want to. I want to play real baseball. I
want
to play cheerleading. I think too. When I grow up, I want to be a real baseball team.
That's cool.
Me too. My daddy's a baseball player too.
Okay, cool.
No.
That's all we have for you today.
For more news, follow us on Twitter at MNHSNTV.
Thanks for watching.
And have a great weekend, Bulldogs.
NTV will the annual relay. Yeah.
Wait, no, I'm laughing.
So close that time, so close.
Don't smile.
My hair is hard to do. It takes a long time to get it like this.
You're just making fun of me so there's no more bloopers. I know, that's exactly what you're doing. Okay.
As you can see, we're both very high maintenance.